And here we are. I'm Chu. I'm gonna go ahead and record my first Solforge draft. I've done 3 Solforge drafts before. I won 2 of them and got 2-1 on the others. So I'm still figuring it out, but at least I, seem to be doing a couple things right. However, my priority on this series of videos is going to be to try to learn. So definitely, please point out anything that I can try to do to improve my play. Otherwise, I'm going to mostly talk through what I'm thinking so I can look at it and try and learn from it. So, here, looking at rarities, we have a mythic here. I forget the Solforge word for mythic, but it is a mythic rare Gox Metamine Paragon. It lets you draw extra cards. That is a quite powerful ability. It also benefits well from having decent stats. Not amazing, but they're decent. I've heard about people getting Forge Guardian Omega happening in draft even, which is pretty cool. All of these cards besides Explosive Demise seem playable. Sonic Pulse is an interesting card, but I haven't had great results with it, so probably not going to take it. I need a Gox for my cards, and I really like it. So I think it is both playable and cool, so I'm definitely going to take that. So, as always, second pick, you can either pick the same faction just to stay open to other options later, or you can, jump in on something else. However, here the most powerful card in the pack probably is Forge Plate Sentry. So I'll go ahead and just take the card that is the same faction and keep going with Alloyin. Okay, from here we no longer have that option. So, Darkheart Wanderer is definitely very good if we have sufficient spells, ideally buff spells, which unfortunately is not Alloyin's best suit. It works. Darkheart Wanderer can work particularly well with Uterra, for example. However, that's not necessarily the biggest problem. Runescarred Zombie, again, like spells, is lower power than Darkheart Wanderer, I think. Swamp Moss Lurker is a really good level 1 body. The body's pretty decent actually throughout, so that's not an unreasonable option. It's good to have a good level 1 body just because even if you are playing other spells at level 1, once you get to player level 2 or 3, an 8/4 body can still block and kill some things fairly strongly. Lightning Brand is better than it used to be and is decent. However, I kind of like the Swamp Moss Lurker body for the reasons that I was talking about. Metamind Adept, I think, is kind of overlooked. Its body is reasonable, plus it lets you have good options for your second card. Gox and Metamind Adept both do very well at letting you dig towards bombs, so it kind of smooths out your draws and lets you have less really bad level 1 hands, just because while you might have to waste a play, with air quotes there, on Metamind Adept, your second play will have a higher chance of having a better creature. Bulwark Bash it requires a lot of things to come together for it to work. So it seems really fringe. Aegis Conscript is fine, but I've actually grown to like Metamind Adept pretty well. Soothing Radiance is okay. I don't have... It is okay in particular with some of the bigger armored creatures like Forge Plate Sentry. However, I think Force Field is more reliable just as you only play it if it will save one of your creatures that would otherwise die, but it is good in those circumstances. Okay, so Metasight is a really cool card. It lets you... Sorry, stretching. It lets you sacrifice a little bit of tempo early on for a stronger late game. I definitely like having one index when I want to play a longer game. Spring Dryad can be good, but it's good in more of a swarm deck where you have a lot of creatures. Gemhide Basher is decent. can serve as removal in armies that don't necessarily get a ton of it. Bear Rider gets pretty big on level 2, although it's not great at 1 or 3. Runegrove Guardian has a decent body, and it has a chance of being a really good body for its level. So that's maybe best here. Again, Swamp Moss Lurker is pretty good, but it's weak enough on the defense that I don't necessarily need a million of them. I think it's down between either Gemhide Basher or Runegrove Guardian. I think I'm going to take Runegrove Guardian just because there's a chance it's extra good. Okay. So, Scythian Augmentation is a mediocre buff spell that only affects the center lane. However, at level 2 and 3 it becomes free, which is very nice. Heavy Artillery can be very useful. Buffing your creatures is very good. Oxidon Spitter is not bad to have because, you know, one of in your deck doesn't take much, you know, is not taking away much of your deck just to fit one Oxidon Spitter. However, if you play against the right decks, Oxidon Spitter can be very, very nice to have, especially because the acid spitting happens without caring about levels. So you can use a level 1 Oxidon Spitter to get rid of the armor of like a fully leveled up Forge Blade Sentry or something. So it's reasonable. Bramblewood Guardian is okay if you have buff spells, but we don't. I think the best picks here are Heavy Artillery or Scythian Augmentation. I think that Heavy Artillery is probably actually better, but I want to play around with Scythian Augmentation a bit, so I'm going to try it. Okay. Cavern Hydra has decent stats, but not amazing. Sparkblade Assassin has particularly good level 2 stats, but it doesn't go up a ton from there. Grove Matriarch has been improved because the seed that it makes is bigger now than it used to be. I think I actually kind of want that to stall out a little bit to try and get my Forge Plate up, though that could be wrong. I'm not a fan of either of these. There's a place for Forge Guardian Alpha, but Primal Surge is another one that gets to be free at level 2, so hopefully I can level some of those up and actually get good use out of them. Not sure which of these is better. I think I'll take Soothing Radiance because it is good to help keep armor creatures alive. Okay, Swamp Moss Lurker is still fine. Wildwood Sower is fine if we have a lot of spells, which we've taken a couple recently actually, so that's not bad. Aegis Conscript is okay. Enrage is good to have. Jetpack is particularly good. Losing Defender, getting a buff, and mobility. Adding mobility to Jetpack is pretty huge. I think I'd like to have one Jetpack, so I think I'll take it now. Okay. Matrix Warden is a nice spell. It buffs the power of your other creatures. Ionic Ward Charger is also a good value creature. This is the kind of spell, this kind of creature that you want to load up buffs on. Like if I gave this armor and maybe a little strength, this becomes a really hard thing to kill because it moves around, so you can't trust forcing it to fight unless you drop a creature right in front of it once it's already lost its summoning sickness. So this is pretty decent. However, I think I want a Matrix Warden just to try and affect trades in my favor. Okay, Deep Branch Prowler is good aggressive card. We're still not looking too aggressive. I think we're kind of a mid-game or late-game deck. So this is a bit less good, although mid to late game it is nice to use a Prowler for a level 1 Prowler for defense. Vault Technician, however, the stats get pretty good on, especially level 2. So I think I kind of want that. Feral Instinct is nice to have one of, so that late game you can use Breakthrough to finish out the game. However, Nexus Pilot is just a strong card. I'm never going to play Druid's Chant. Forge Guardian Alpha, however, there's a chance that it's exactly the creature I need to trade, so. Matrix Guardian is good. Grove Huntress is good. I think Grove Huntress is slightly better than Matrix Warden, but only slightly. Alright, Technosmith helps us level up some of these cards. I want more cards that are really good in the late game, like Forge Plate Sentry. Hopefully we can get some, because otherwise it's dicey. Okay, another Nexus Pilot lets us have a bit more plan. These two Nexus Pilots work well with our center row plan of the Scipion augmentation we've got. So, okay, from here. Ghost Scale Cobra is not the worst to just drop in front of a creature and gradually kill it. Again, I have an inordinate like for Metamind Adept. So I think I'll take it. This is honestly me going a little bit more in my direction because it's what I like playing. But it's fun. I've had good luck with it. Okay, here we go. Alloyin Warwalker. Alloyin Warwalker is good if we can buff it with things like Matrix Warden. It's very rare and is a card that I don't have many of. It seems at least reasonable. And if we can keep it alive, all the better. So I'd definitely like to see where that'll go. Okay. So Sparkblade Assassin is okay level 2. Fangwood Ravager, kind of mediocre throughout. Stag helps keep us alive a little bit, but its stats are nothing to write home about. I think I'll take a Sparkblade Assassin. I think it's the best creature here. I think we talked about how the Bear Rider is particularly good at rank 2. I think it just has the overall best stats, although the tier 1 stats are pretty shoddy. Cavern Hydra, again, just the best creature. And here's the Feral Instinct I wanted one of. Okay, we're down to the last 5 cards. So, what do we want here? We are a very Alloyin heavy deck, so I think Steel Shaper is pretty reasonable here. That'll help us defend some of our bigger creatures, like our middle row pilots, wherever. Nexus pilots. So I think Steel Shaper Savant is fine here. Here we are. Another Forge Plate Sentry is good. Jetpack's fine, Feral Instinct's fine, but I think the Sentry is exactly what we want. Munitions Drone can help buff other creatures. Munitions Drone is also great with the Warwalker. So I think this is coming up Millhouse. This is what we want. Okay, Feral Instinct. Again, I've got one of it. I like having at least one. Aegis Pulse is only good if you've got a lot of creatures out, and if it happens to keep at least one of them alive. Ghost Scale Cobra, however, can be good slow removal. Again, I'm more likely to play Sleeping Radiance, although I really don't want to. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and I'll be back in a moment for round 1.